Hello. Alright, so I'm back again with another video. Turn this up. Okay, so today I want to talk about the no contact rule. So, no contact rule is basically the same thing as the original no contact rule, except pregnant, it is a bit different. Okay, so, just a overview of what the no contact rule is. So the no contact rule is basically when you have an ex, you don't talk to them for 30 to 60 days. 30 days minimum, 60 days, or even longer. I mean, if you don't want to talk to them at all, then you really honestly don't have to talk to them at all. But for pregnancy, it means you gotta bun in the oven with this person. It is a tad bit different. So with pregnancy, you should still, of course, tell the father of the child, about appointments, about anything that happens if you go to the hospital, if you get preterm labor, if just anything that deals directly with the baby. Like if you're like me, daycare, because I am one of those moms who does really plan ahead of time. Because there's one thing I know through my research is that daycares do fill up pretty quickly at the end of the year. For some reason, everybody has kids towards the end of the year. So you have to kind of like make sure that you pick a good daycare that you want the baby to go to. For me, it was like somewhere close to work and all that. And I guess I'll do another video about that one too. Because daycares, it's pretty, funny enough, it's actually very, very meticulous. Because you have to know like what you want, what you don't want, different things that really matter to you as a mom. But back to the no contact rule. So, and pediatricians too. Like, I also have done research about pediatricians, have gone to see a few, just for the simple fact that after you have the baby, within the first month, the baby has to get a bunch of different shots. Like even to go into daycare, the baby has to have a certain amount of shots and certain shots to even be able to enroll. So, with these factors, you kind of do have to still maintain at least a little bit of contact with your ex. With me and mine, because, I'm bringing this subject up because I actually went through it. And I researched a lot to try and figure out like how this works, whether or not it was right or what to do, because I know for, these reasons, you have to modify the no contact rule. And from what I've read online through my own personal research, like it's a guy that did the no contact rule for pregnant women. Like how would you know? Like you don't have a baby. You don't go through our emotions. You don't know how it feels to be in this position every day and have to be reminded every day of the person that you were pregnant by, whom you do not get along with currently. I mean, I guess he did try a little bit, but at the same time, it's kind of like, unless you're in that situation, you can't really begin to understand how it feels, how you're going to react, or why it's difficult to maintain something like the no contact rule. Because at the end of the day, it is very difficult, especially for women like myself and many others. It's not that we want to keep the baby from the person or that we want to be angry. It's the fact that the person has led us to this point. Because the only time you don't want to talk to anyone is when you get to that point where it's too much, and everybody has a limit. Everyone's limit is different, whatever the circumstances are. Because like some women are in very abusive relationships. Some women are dating very toxic men who they're pregnant by, narcissists. It's different factors. For me, my ex is just quite immature. And honestly, with my situation, he kept on leaving. He would come and then leave, and then come and then leave. And I got to the point where I was just sick of it, because every time he would come back, he would say that he was going to change and it would be the same exact thing. So when you initiate the no contact rule, that's exactly what it means. It means no text messages, no phone calls, no emails, no social media, no stalking their social media. Like, I mean, even just looking to see what they're up to. My suggestion is delete them completely. That's it. For me, I just put my ex down as my son's name, Dad. My son's dad, and that's it. And what I would actually do is, because I know myself, you don't have to do this if you can like maintain it to where you're not going to just text him. My suggestion to kind of help is block him. Honestly, tell him about the appointments, time, date, location, where it is, and then block him again. That's what I had to do because of the simple fact that I was just angry at the time, and this was during my first trimester. I'm in my third now, but during my first trimester, I was very angry at the time with him because this was around the first time that he really truly actually left, and it was very heartbreaking to me because like we decided to keep this child, and it was under the pretense that he would help me and be there for me throughout my pregnancy, but he just couldn't handle my hormones, and he couldn't handle like the responsibility of being there, which is unexcusable to me because at the end of the day, for any woman that is pregnant, we can't just leave. We can't just be like, oh, we're done, we don't feel like dealing with this, we're gonna leave. We're the ones that carry the children. We're the ones that have to go through the motions of being pregnant, of dealing with the stress, and it's very hard because our bodies are changing, our emotions are changing. Where I once was not so clingy and needy, I wanted that attention. I wanted to feel like a mom and to be loved and cared for, and I didn't get that. And after he just kept on doing it, I was like, you know what, I don't want to talk to him. And I did it, and believe it or not, I've had to do it multiple times, as you can see, because this was one of the first times that I did it, and I broke, and I was stalking his social media. And the next thing I know, I caught myself messaging him. Like, enabling the no contact rule is something that is very helpful. Like, if you can actually maintain it, then it's perfect, but sometimes you're going to fail at it. But I will say that, if it's someone who is just irresponsible, not ready, or doesn't want to deal with it, they're not going to deal with it. Even if they decide to come back around, like, a person has to really make a big significant change and effort for you to believe them. Because if you do it like me, where you broke it and then he came back and then he said that he was going to stop and it never stopped, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. So that's also another thing with the no contact rule. It's like, you got to force yourself to wean off of this person. And it is going to be difficult, especially pregnant. Oh, it's 10 times worse for us because we already have that attachment to the person that got us pregnant, just for the simple fact that that's the father of our child, So if you do it and you fail and you contact that person, they hurt you, try again, but start over. That doesn't mean like, okay, you went 2 weeks and then broke. No, you have to start the 30 days back over. I had to do that, I think, maybe twice. The second time I lasted maybe like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks or something, and I was doing good. I was doing really, really good. And then I caught myself reading his horoscope. Yeah, something as simple as that. Like, any emphasis on the other person will break you. Now, some people are strong enough to where they can actually go through the 30 days and not break. But I'm here to say that it does happen if you do, so don't beat yourself up. Because even me, I broke, and then like we get in arguments and stuff, and then next thing I know, somehow, I would leave him unblocked, and then I would talk to him, and like usually if he's arguing with me, I'm like, oh, so now you're wanting to have a conversation, and oh, it doesn't work like that. Nothing's gonna change. Nothing changed. I mean, in some instances it probably will for some people, but just for me, it didn't. It was just one of those situations where it's just he doesn't understand, and he was not going to listen. because he would say that I was crazy and all this other stuff and put me down because he just wasn't responsible and ready. And I'm not crazy. I'm just upset, and I'm hormonal, and I'm pregnant, and I expected more. We were in a relationship, like these things have a gigantic factor on women. And pregnancy on top of normal emotions is hard. So the no contact rule is something that I definitely suggest for anyone that was in a relationship that's trying to get through it and over it, because this stress is horrible. And the longer you go taking this kind of crap from someone, it's just going to hurt you and the baby in the future. I mean, you can't really avoid it, but you need to get through it. And getting through it is just taking the first steps to healing. And the first steps to healing is getting something that it was toxic, something that was hurting you, something that wasn't good for you, and taking it out of your life. And there's nothing wrong with that. 30 days of not talking to someone is honestly something that I say that any woman needs, because it is hard at first. But when I actually got through my first real 30 days, I will say, like, by like when I wasn't stalking his social media or looking at his horoscope, because the third time honestly was a charm for me, because just the way that he was acting and treating me and the stuff that he was saying and then going around saying to people, I had enough. Because, like, being pregnant is tough enough, and for someone to ridicule you and make you feel bad for being emotional, make you feel bad for being hormonal, and make you feel bad for being pregnant, like, I don't want that in my life. Like, why? This is a wonderful time in my life, and the only issue was I should have picked somebody that was more ready for this. I shouldn't have just gone off on a whim and trusted what he said and just gone with my gut and, waited or something. But it's too late for that. So, enable the no contact rule. So 30 days, and no texting, no calling, no emails, no social media, no horoscopes. I know I shouldn't have to say that, but I couldn't help myself when I did it the second time, I believe. I was like, I just want to see how he feels. and it is pretty hard, but I'll tell you, like, I would say maybe after the beginning of the second and a half, third week, I started to feel different. When I stopped thinking about him, when I stopped, thinking about how he feels, or like thinking about the conversation that I would actually have with him to his face about what he did and how he treated me, all I started doing was thinking about the baby. Like, that's when I started thinking about daycares, and it helps. Like, I started thinking about daycares. I started thinking about his pediatrician. I found, like, a bunch of baby sales, because they happen quarterly, and let me tell you, these sales are awesome. I got like $1,000 worth of stuff for $200, $300. These baby sales are great, and they happen like everywhere. Apparently, like, someone actually tagged me in it on Facebook, and like it was like a big blowout baby sale that they have like in the summertime. And that's what I did. I went to baby sales. I bought stuff for my son. I looked at different things that I wanted, and then I thought about how I wanted to be a mom and how I wanted to raise my baby and what I wanted him to have, how I wanted to treat him. Like, I looked at colic bottles. Let me tell you, bottles, there are so many different kinds of bottles and nipples, and you could go crazy with all the things that you can do to occupy your time and not think of this one person, because that one person does not equal this person. This one person that you're growing, that you're working hard to have, that's making you go through all these changes, and honestly, for me, becoming a better person. This one person, he's gonna matter more to me than my ex. And doing the no contact rule has really helped me as a mom, because I was able to heal from everything that he did and how he treated me. And even to this day, I don't feel anything from my ex. Now, I will say after, it does work, because after, like, I would not talk to him, And like I would say, I think I went to like 30, 40 days or something like that. And I mean, I was still telling him about the baby appointments, but I would block him. I would block the crap out of him. And then like I slowly, like towards the end, I started noticing that his friends were like looking at my story on Instagram, and I was confused. I was like, when did I become your friend? So I noticed that his friends were looking on my Instagram, and they never do, because I never see them on there. I never see them like my pictures or anything like that. Like I was at a hot air balloon festival. What else did I do? I did a bunch of stuff like to occupy my time. And like I was just enjoying being pregnant. And his friends were liking my pictures. And then come to find out, like when I actually did unblock him, for real, like he actually texts me. Sorry. He actually texts me, and it was just like, am I still blocked? So I'm guessing that he's been trying to text me and get in touch with me. And then like now we kind of talk, but we came to an agreement, because I don't feel the same, after doing the no contact rule. That's what I'm going to tell you. It's like, it's really your choice. So when the person comes back, if they come back, because sometimes they don't, it just depends. It depends on the relationship you had with that person. It depends on a lot of factors. But if they come back, like my ex did come back, and he asked me to marry him, and I said no. I'm sorry. I can't forgive that. Like, maybe I can eventually one day, but it's like baby steps, one step at a time. So for me, he did come back, and I did say no, and we just agreed to co-parent. So now we have a pretty open relationship, and it's nice, because I just tell him about the baby. We have conversations about it, about delivery, about the labor, things of that nature, but nothing more. And I kind of like it like this. For me, like, I'm comfortable like this, because I'm not really willing to let someone back into my life that did something like that to me. Because no man should ever abandon a woman pregnant for whatever reason. Like, you did this too. It takes two to have a baby. So you can't just put all the responsibility and the pressure on one person. Like, you shouldn't. And that's the biggest part about communicating, is when you have situations like this, it is important that you communicate. Even if you choose to not stay together, you gotta be there. You gotta show up to appointments and do what you're supposed to do as a man. That's my opinion. Some people may not feel that way, but that's how I feel. And that's all I'm gonna say on that subject. But the no contact rule does work. So I definitely say that a lot of people should try it, and if you fail, keep trying, because at the end of the day, like, you never really know how your relationship is going to end up, or how you're going to feel at the end of it. But it is an eye-opener, and it does bring you to a place where you get peace, because when you have that time to yourself, you really think about what's important to you and what you want and how you want to be treated. Because you got to remember, like, this is a new day and time. There is going to be somebody else out there that'll treat you better, that'll care for you, that'll love your baby. Don't let one person affect that and take that from you. You can't always find your happiness with another person. But if that person does, the person you got pregnant by, does decide that they want to work things out, and that's something that you're willing to do, I say do it. There's nothing wrong with having a family with the father of your child. And there's nothing wrong with not having a family with the father. Like, it's really up to you, and everybody's circumstances and situations are very different from the next person. So just do what you feel is right and give it a shot. It's tough, but you gotta go through the storm to see what the other side looks like. Grass is always greener. I mean, sometimes it's green already. I don't know. It's really up to you. But as far as the no contact rule, that is how that works, okay? Well, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks for listening.